On a serene summer day in the corner of a barnyard, a mother duck sat waiting for her eggs to hatch. One by one, small cracks appeared, and soon 6 little ducklings emerged, fluffy and yellow. However, the 7th egg, larger and different from the rest, took longer to hatch. When it finally opened, out stumbled a gray, awkward-looking chick. This unusual appearance made the other ducklings whisper, and the farm animals snicker, dubbing him the Ugly Duckling. Life in the barnyard was difficult for the Ugly Duckling. He faced endless teasing and isolation because he didn't look like the others. Even his own siblings and mother found it hard to accept him entirely. As days turned into weeks, the Ugly Duckling decided to run away, hoping to find a friendlier place. He wandered through marshes and meadows, encountering various animals who either mocked him or pitied him. Winter arrived, harsh and unforgiving, and the Ugly Duckling struggled to survive the freezing winds and scarcity of food. A kind farmer found him and took him home, where he nursed the duckling back to health. One frigid night, he collapsed in a field, exhausted and ready to give up. Though the warmth of the farmer's house provided temporary comfort, the Ugly Duckling yearned for something he couldn't quite name. Spring came, and with the melting of the snow, his spirit lifted. He ventured out to a pond and saw a group of elegant swans gliding across the water. Once upon a time, there were 3 little pigs who lived with their mother. One day, she sent them out into the world to seek their fortunes. The first little pig decided to build a house of straw. It was the easiest and quickest method, and soon he had a cozy little straw house. The second little pig, slightly more industrious, built his house of sticks. It was stronger than straw and took a bit longer but still offered quick protection. The third little pig, the most diligent of the trio, decided to build his house out of bricks. It was hard work and took a lot of time, but he knew it would be worth it. One day a big bad wolf came along. He first approached the straw house. He huffed and puffed and blew the house down in seconds. The first little pig ran to his brother's stick house. The wolf followed and huffed and puffed again, blowing the stick house down as well. Both pigs ran to their brother's brick house. The wolf, determined, began to huff and puff. But no matter how hard he tried, he couldn't blow the brick house down. Frustrated, the wolf tried to trick the pigs out of the house, but they were too smart for his schemes. Eventually, the wolf gave up, and the 3 little pigs lived safely in the sturdy brick house, forever thankful for their brother's hard work and wisdom. As dawn broke over the vibrant town of Joyville, the air was filled with an unusual but infectious happiness. The source? A simple song that had spread like wildfire amongst the townspeople. It all began with little Tommy, a curious and spirited 6-year-old, discovering an old nursery rhyme book in the attic of his grandmother's house. The book was well worn, its pages yellowed with age. But the words on page 24 caught his eye. If you're happy and you know it, clap your hands. Intrigued, Tommy began to chant the lyrics, clapping his hands with unrestrained glee. His joyful energy was palpable and soon attracted the attention of his grandmother, Mrs. Hazel. A wise and gentle soul, Mrs. Hazel smiled warmly at Tommy and joined him in clapping to the rhythm. This scene of intergenerational joy didn't stay confined to the modest house on Maple Street for long. Tommy and Mrs. Hazel took a stroll down to the local park, where they met various townspeople. There was Mr. Thompson, the gruff but kind-hearted butcher, with his apron stained from a morning's work, and Miss Eliza, the ever-cheerful librarian, who always had a book recommendation ready. They too were drawn into the simple yet profound act of clapping their hands in happiness. As the day progressed, more and more townspeople joined in, from the bustling marketplace to the quiet corners of the town. Even the usually stoic Mayor Bennett couldn't resist the charm of the song. By noon, the entire town was a harmonious symphony of claps and smiles. It was as if each clap echoed joy that had been waiting to be released. What was remarkable wasn't just the collective happiness, but the transformations it brought. Mr. Thompson, who rarely smiled, found himself laughing heartily for the first time in years. Miss Eliza witnessed the usually shy children in the library forming a merry band, clapping and dancing between the bookshelves. Mayor Bennett, who always seemed burdened by the weight of responsibilities, looked uncharacteristically light, as if a great weight had lifted. The town's happiness became a self-sustaining cycle. The more they clapped, the more joyful they felt, and the more joyful they felt, the more they clapped. The old nursery rhyme had unearthed an incredible truth in Joyville. Happiness was not just an emotion but a shared experience, amplified when expressed together. As the sun set, casting a golden hue over the town, Tommy sat on the porch steps, his eyes twinkling with contentment. Mrs. Hazel sat beside him, her heart swelling with pride. The simple act of clapping their hands had done more than spread joy for a day. It had united a community, reminding them of the beauty in shared happiness. And so Joyville became known as the town where happiness was loud, vibrant, and contagious, all thanks to a little boy, an old rhyme, and the magic of a communal clap.